Oh my goodness, I did it again. I had an entire conversation with you without turning my mic on. So now I have a sign for myself. Turn the mic on. Oh my goodness, have got to stop doing that. Well, hello, my badass friends. My name is Cece, and welcome to my badass life. Today, we are going to talk about re-entry. Yes, this has been a part of my life now for going on, well, how many years since COVID started? That's a long time. And it's going to continue to be a part of my life for a little while longer. So today's conversation is about reentry, and it's also about compassion. It's about understanding, and specifically understanding the life of a cancer survivor, even a cancer survivor in remission. So let's talk. I went straight from COVID to cancer. And so right about the time that we were just thinking about letting up our own COVID sort of stringency, which by the way was way later than the rest of the world, I'll get to that in a minute, the Delta strain came along. And so then we went right back to being careful. And then I got diagnosed. And pretty much we've been in the isolation / careful bucket ever since. And so I will share with you, we still haven't eaten out at a restaurant. We've gotten takeout a few times here and there, but we still haven't eaten out at a restaurant since March of 2020. I'm pretty sure we could probably end up in the Guinness Book of World Records for that. But I also want to let you know that we are so not deprived. If you follow us at CC and Doc on social media, you know we make some pretty awesome meals, some pretty gourmet stuff. And so nobody here starves, and we eat pretty darn well, and sometimes kind of fancy because we're pretty good at cooking. But I digress. It's interesting when I think about, our COVID experience, because from the very beginning, we took COVID really, really seriously. And I honestly believe that's because on some level, we had some kind of intuition that there was something going on with me. And obviously we didn't get any confirmation of that until November of 2021. I had no symptoms at all for a very long time. It wasn't until really just a few months before I got diagnosed that I started to have some symptoms, which were easily misinterpreted because we had also moved in that time, and we moved ourselves, and we were carrying all this big ass furniture up and down 3 different flights of stairs all by ourselves, above our heads, etc. So can you say hemorrhoids that weren't hemorrhoids and actually turned into a big fat tumor? But the bottom line is we continued to remain very, very cautious throughout COVID. And I really believe that's because we had some type of intuition that was saying, don't screw around with this, because one of you could get very ill, and that one would have been me. And so that brings me to now, and the question of why I'm still being so careful now. So there are a couple of cancer group types that, even despite remission, are still somewhat more vulnerable if they were to get things like the pneumonia or flu or COVID, and colorectal cancer is one of them. That was a study I read a long time ago, so please do not make me remember what that study was. I read a lot of studies in the last couple of years, let me tell you. So that is one reason. And the other reason is because even though I have been in remission since June of 2022, I still have a white blood cell count that is kind of woo. And as I understand it, everybody's white blood cell count can kind of go woo, but mine goes woo on the low end of normal. And occasionally it dips below normal, and sometimes it pretty much rides the line right at normal and the low of normal. And that isn't comfortable for me. And so I know that my body, prior to getting diagnosed, I was running more in the 5.5 range for white blood cell count. And different labs have different ranges, so don't ask me to explain that either. But it was running in about the 5.5 range. And right now I run in the low to mid 3s up to the low 4s. And I have yet to get up any higher than that. And for me, that's a concern. And I have different doctors have different opinions. So a couple of my doctors err more on the side of caution, and they're like, hey, masking in public places with a lot of people like Sam's Club or Walmart or whatever is still a really good idea. Some are like, well, make sure you're not hanging out in crowds of people, which in my mind is like a restaurant, right, where everybody's germs are being passed around. And then there's also, and then there's my new primary care physician who said, keep wearing the mask and tell people I told you so. And so, so, there are differing opinions. And then there's also just got to be a comfort level. And for me right now, one of the things that I will say is that I don't want to be sick. I spent a year in treatment, almost a year in treatment. I have spent I'm working on a year of recovery from treatment, and I'm still recovering. Remember, I said the other day, it's amazing how long it takes a body to recover from cancer treatment. My doctors tell me it could be 2 years or more. And so, and you read a lot of people's accounts where they say the same thing, 2 years to 5 years. And some people say you never get completely back to normal. And so normal's overrated, right? But there are some days where I wish I was a little more normal. Anyway, my point is that for me right now, I just don't want to be sick. I don't want to be any kind of sick. I don't want to be mild sick. I don't want to be severely sick. I don't want to be sick. I wasn't sick before cancer. I felt great, and I want to feel great again. And so if this gives me that, then I'll take it. Back in the COVID days, I would have told you that I was wearing this more for you than for me, and or at least 50-50. And now I'll be honest, I'm wearing this sucker for me, baby. You can do what you want. It is live and let live as far as I'm concerned, but you don't have to do anything, but I'm going to wear it. And one of the things that I will also give kudos to our close circle of friends for is that those people who have spent time with us as we have re-entered, which by the way, we just really started doing this last summer. Because last summer, the last summer, I was in surgeries and recovering from surgeries. So the few people who we have gotten together with and socialized with, they have been incredibly understanding and compassionate about the mask. And then we have had one rule, which is the cost of admission is a COVID test, because then we can interact with one another very normally, and we can even have a meal together, and we'll cook for you because we're not going out to eat, but we'll cook for you. And God knows I may never eat at a buffet again, because how did we not think of that germ factor before COVID? I swear to y'all, I was the least germophobic person in the entire world. Well, okay, maybe not in the entire world, because I did still wipe down the tray table and stuff in the plane, because I was on a lot of planes. And I used to see those 60-minute specials where they showed people changing their baby's diapers on those things. So I did wipe that stuff down. But honestly, I was the least germophobic person before COVID and cancer. But now I'm cautious. I'm not going to lie. And I'm not going to apologize for that, because it's the space that I live in. And it doesn't bother us, but I guess I'm sharing this today because I also don't want it to bother you if you know and love somebody with cancer and they've just got a little bit more restriction around how you can spend time with them. All these new parents these days with new babies are like, you can't touch the baby, you can't get near the baby, you've got to wash your hands before you touch the baby, all that kind of stuff. Well, just think of it the same way, right? Just think of it as we're all bare-ass little babies running around and got some germs we got to be cautious about. Anyway, where am I going with this? What I'm saying is that our friends have been very kind in indulging us with a COVID test here and there if we want to spend time together so we can be comfortable with it. When will we get to the point where we will completely stop masking? Honest to God, I have no freaking idea. But right now, it is what it is, and we're okay with it. And we are starting to re-enter slowly, and everybody's re-entry is going to be different. Just like I always say, every single cancer journey is individual and different. Even though some of us have similarities, everybody's individual cancer journey is different. Everybody's body responds differently to treatment. Everybody responds differently to treatment. And everybody's re-entry or the fact that maybe they never even stopped doing all the stuff that they were doing before, everybody's everybody's process is their process. And all I'm asking is that you respect whoever's process and really just understand that what they're doing for themselves, they're doing for their own health, they're doing for their own comfort level. And while it may seem crazy to the rest of the world, it is something that is essential for some of us. And I will also mention that we have family members right now, we have friends and family members right now who are battling cancer as well, and they've got, you know, crazy low blood counts and things like that. And so we're continuing to protect them too. And so we just feel this really strong sense of responsibility in doing that. And that's okay. It really is okay. So bottom line today is, you know, re-entry is in the eye of the beholder. And while sometimes I wonder if we will just be wearing a mask forever, and sometimes, sure, especially on a 90-degree day, it would be nice to not wear the mask in a crowded place, I still feel safer doing it. And thankfully winter's here, so we won't have to worry about that too much. But I just, if you take anything away from today, take two things away. One is just be compassionate and understanding to whatever the cancer survivor in your life is going through, and try to be as accommodating as you can, because it will make them more comfortable and lower their stress. Because remember, the other day I mentioned the whole stress and anxiety that goes along with survivorship. And the other thing that I need to ask you is, are we loving this hat for the vlog, or is it just too darn distracting and it needs to go and maybe only show up on occasion? Can you please let me know in the comments? I so appreciate it. By the way, this conversation today was not meant to be anything but individualistic and also a healthcare conversation. So if you feel like it was something else and it touched a nerve, I'll apologize for that in advance, but I will encourage you not to put ugly comments down there because they're not useful. So please comment constructively, please comment respectfully, and feel free to share your experience. If you are a cancer survivor, are you out of the closet yet? Are you in full reentry mode? Are you in partial reentry mode? Are your engines just firing up? Let me know. I really appreciate it. And by the way, oh, you blog. That's cute. Have a fabulous day. Take care. My name is Cece. Welcome to my badass life.